My father was a deeply religious man. He used to believe that whenever good folks end up neck deep in trouble, God finds a way to send help to them. And it's never anything flashy either. No bright beams of light falling from the night sky. No winged angels descending from the heavens to lend a helping hand. No, it's just ordinary people living ordinary lives who go above and beyond what's expected of them to pull the desperate out of whatever hole they've ended up in. These people, he said, were the real angels. Although temporarily, they get to carry out God's will. Now, I wasn't nearly as religious as my father. In fact, he would be quite surprised and disappointed if he knew just how little I had actually kept to faith. But there have been times in my life where I've had to question my skepticism regarding religion and God. Most frighteningly on that rainy September night 4 years ago. It was the weekend. My buddy Aaron had come down to visit me in my little backwoods town, and the two of us had gotten smashed and made the terrible decision to go driving in the hills far to the south. Thought it would be fun to race through those winding roads while drunk off our asses. We were trying to get a taste of our spent youth by indulging in supremely reckless behavior. Luckily for us, we didn't end up hurling the car off a cliff. Not so luckily, Aaron ended up doing that to himself. We had stopped on the side of the road because he wanted to piss off the side of a mountain, which he did, of course, but he slipped and ended up falling after his own urine. I remember how the sight of him disappearing into the darkness after crunching and slipping on a twig made my heart almost jump out of my throat. I think I must have lost about half of my buzz with just that. The rest was gone when I spotted his battered and bloodied body on the ground below. Aaron was fortunate that he only fell and smashed his head open on the lower half of a switchback. If the angle had been off by even a little, he would have been too far gone to be saved. But he wasn't. He still had a chance to live. The second I spotted dark blood pooling near his head, I started running back down the road before remembering I had a car with me. I staggered back to it as quickly as I could, plopped myself into the driver's seat, and drove all the way back down to where his body had been. He wasn't moving when I got to him. For a second, I was afraid I was too late. I checked his pulse, still alive. I yanked open the door to the back seat, then pulled his limp and heavy body in. After ensuring that he was in no danger of rolling onto the floor, I jumped back into the driver's seat, turned the ignition key, and started driving back up the hill. I couldn't go back to my town. There were no medical facilities there. The nearest hospital was about an hour away in a slightly larger town further south. I bit my lip and wondered if Aaron would even survive the journey. Sweat exploded out of the pores in my forehead. The possibility of my friend dying in my car was horrifying. A couple of minutes in, the second stroke of bad luck hit us. The car's headlights died. I don't know if it was faulty wiring or whatever, but I was suddenly plunged into total darkness. It was a cloudy new moon night, and I couldn't see more than a foot or so beyond the hood of the car. Attempting to navigate those hills in such a situation was nothing short of suicidal. Yet I had to try. What other option did I have? Calling the emergency services would have taken too long. I might as well have just sat still and watched him die. That's when the third stroke of bad luck hit us like a bat to the back of the head. The skies started weeping. It didn't take more than a minute for the rain to intensify into what seemed to be a raging storm. I sat and fidgeted in my seat as the rain rode gusts of wind and started lashing the windshield, while Aaron continued to bleed out in the back seat. I had no idea what I was supposed to do next. I was about to call 911, knowing how pointless it would be when salvation came in the form of a single headlight shimmering behind the walls of water crashing down on the road. Could it be one of my dad's guardian angels? Feeling my heartbeat quicken, I began pressing down on the horn. The motorbike slowed down as it approached my car, came to a halt right next to my window. A middle-aged male voice issued from beneath the helmet.
"Why have you switched your headlights off? Almost didn't see you."
"There's something wrong with them," I answered quickly. "Listen, man, I need your help. My friend is hurt, and I need to get him to the hospital. The problem is I can't fucking see anything. Could you please help me out?" The helmet bobbed readily.
"Sure thing. Stick to my ass. I'll be your flashlight. I'll lead you past these hills, onto the highway and to the town down south. Think you can do that?"
I nodded before he had even finished speaking, silently thanking God for sending him to me in my hour of need. And that's what the rest of that night's journey was like. The man slowly and cautiously led us out of the corkscrew-like roads that webbed those hills. For almost an hour and a half, I stuck to that bike, paying no attention to anything other than its taillight. Finally, the stormy journey was brought to an end as the man brought us close to the twinkling lights of a town, bade a grinning goodbye, and drove off. I thanked him profusely before I resumed the last stretch of the journey under the glare of wet streetlights. My heart sank as I recognized the streets I was driving through. My father's words came rushing back to me. Guardian angels. I thought that if he was right, and if that God was real, then it meant that so was the devil. The man on the bike had taken advantage of my lack of sight to bring us to another town half an hour away from the one with the hospital. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and smash that like button to get notified every time I upload a new video. You can also check out some more of my animated horror stories right here.